Here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Good morning, wherever you may be around the globe, in the chat room, on another planet, or on the other side. This is Late Night in the Midlands. I'm Michael Vara, and this broadcast is coming at you live from the East Coast of the United States, in the Midlands of South Carolina. And again, I do welcome all of you. The website is latenightinthemidlands.com. Go on over, become a late nighter, be informed, and by all means, inform others. Tonight I've got another really good guest joining me. We're going to discuss remote viewing. We're going to discuss spirituality, all that good stuff, energy healing. Oh yeah, with Douglas James Cottrell. So that's coming up in just a little while. Bear with me tonight as I am testing all kinds of stuff here. I've got doing a video feed now, so you could find that over on twitch.com, which, let me turn this down. That was interfering before. I had to turn it off. Now if I could just find, let's see here, where is, I cannot find the damn volume on this thing. Let's see here. I told you, I haven't worked out everything yet. Wait a minute, I know how. No, that's not it either. Where in the heck is it? Huh. All right, well, until I figure that one out, I'm not going to be doing too much over there. Anyways, it's on Twitch, so you could go check us out there. It's also on 5 other video outlets out there, which I'll mention a little later. I don't have the list in front of me right now. I'm testing something new here, getting it out to different places and seeing how it goes. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm still trying to find, I'm over on this Twitch channel here, and I'm looking for the damn volume knob, something knob, or a knob. I sound like Biden now. I'm looking for the volume, and I'm not finding it, because I need to turn this down so it don't double talk me, but I'm not finding it. Oh, is that in the way? That was in the way. That's why. All right, there was something in the way. Okay, we got that done now. I just want to make sure we're broadcasting. I'm checking some different places. All right, so we're on Twitch is the main, I guess you're going to say the main squeeze right now. So for now, anyways, and then we're on 4 others, 5 others. Well, Daily Motion, that thing that's something going on there, so that one's not up right now. But we're on D Live, Trovo, Africa TV, and Mob Crush. So those are the places we should be on right now. I don't know. Usually this thing tells me, but it's not. That's what I've been playing with this all weekend. Trying to get this set up so we can launch it here on Monday. And I got I got all kinds of new stuff going here. I like Twitch. Twitch is not bad. I've used it for for other stuff before, but not really that much. But so far, so yay, as they say in the chat. Hello over there. So, folks, you could go to the channel on Twitch. It's LNM Radio TV, and there's a chat room, just like YouTube has a chat room. Look, we couldn't do this on YouTube. They got ridiculous on things. So, I've been looking around, trying some different things. So here we are. Now we've gone through the wormhole. We've landed on yet another. So let's see if we last. Ooh, that coffee is hot. Just the way I like it. All right. So a little news and discovery I've got to get into before we bring Doug Cottrell on. I think I have a feeling tonight's going to be really an interesting show. I think so. So a woman who was about to buy a red coat from a charity shop found a rather unnerving note inside its pocket. This would be my luck, right? I'd buy something and find, it's like in that Walmart. What was it? I don't know how many. Couple years back. Somebody bought a piece of clothing at Walmart, and there was a note in the pocket saying, "Help me, I'm being forced to make this stuff in a slave shop." You don't know if someone writes this, goes in there playing jokes, and just puts it in there. But we do know that China is good for that. So she finds this note inside the pocket. It says here, you can often find a few good bargains when shopping for secondhand clothes in the charity shops. But sometimes it's also possible to find a chilling reminder that the items you are buying were once owned by someone else, someone who may not be around anymore. This point was brought into sharp focus recently when a woman in the U.S. discovered a handwritten note inside one of the pockets of an old red coat that she was trying on at the thrift store. The scrap piece of paper read, simply, it said, "Bury me in this red suit." Yeah, I wouldn't be buying it. Whoever owned the coat, it seemed, had not gotten their wish. They wanted to be buried in that suit. Well, maybe they could be attached to something. I don't know. But, why didn't they bury him in the suit? Maybe they missed the note. They didn't see the note. Usually someone dies. I guess this guy expected that people would be checking all the pockets of everything. So people are like scavengers sometimes. Someone dies, all family members get in there and start ripping everything apart. They're all for, it's like a scavenger hunt, which is pretty sad. Pretty sad. So I don't know if she bought the coat or not. I'm hoping, well, good luck to her if she did. Woman caught COVID, got vaccinated, then became infected again. Man in that's one. I'm going to give you some headlines now. Speaking of which, man, if you have seen this, and I have it, and I've been reading it, I've gotten through 30 pages of this thing today. I spent a lot of time on it. And I'm talking about this document that has gotten out, the SPARS Pandemic 2025-2028, which it says a futuristic scenario for public health risk communications or communicators. And it's got a picture of a blue little virus deal on the front, and as you go through it, oh boy, they say, oh, this is just a projection, so don't run away with taking it too serious. Of course, yeah, everything, it's like a playbook, folks. I'm telling you, it is a playbook. 30 pages, and when I finish it, I plan on doing a show on it. So Alex Jones did a really good job on this thing, and so have a couple other people too, by the way. It's getting out there. People aren't stupid. So this woman caught COVID, got vaccinated, became infected again. Gee, I wonder why. Man in hospital 5 weeks after receiving the Johnson & Johnson jab. You don't want the Johnson & Johnson jab is like the Mike Tyson jab. When it connects, lights out, baby. Lights out. No, this is no joke, though. And it isn't just the Johnson & Johnson jab. There's other jabs, too. Man, oh man, people are. I'm seeing a lot of, and it is in this document. It is in there. I mean, play by play. How people are going to react? How the health expert would say. They give them different names. So playing the part of Fauci today is whoever they got in there, right? So I mean, but right down the line, right to the T. Yeah, wait till you see what's coming up the pike in 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months after people have gotten the jab. I don't want to give you the fear. I don't want to fear monger you, because I know some of you probably did get it, and but it's not looking good. Talking about respiratory failure, swelling of the brain. This is like in the next 6 to 8 months after getting these jabs. This is in their own documentation too. I mean, this isn't not making up. They even put in there how they would fearmonger and get people scared. Like, for instance, one sign said, if you have spar, they call it spars, right? I mean, we could put that together. So they say if you've got feel symptoms of spars coming on, this, that, and the other thing, go see your doctor immediately. Then at the bottom it says, spars can kill you. That's the fear mongering. It's amazing. That's the fear-mongering now. Iran accuses Israel of sabotage at nuclear site, vows revenge. Yeah, all kinds of crap is going to happen. I'm telling you what, we've been saying the last few years, what an interesting time to be alive. Yeah, this year is definitely going to be interesting. And if we make it to next year, that ought to be a bam boom, sir, just a big party. Taiwan reports largest insurgent yet. They're talking about China. Good old China. Our buddy, our pals, our good friends, China. Ukraine president heads to trenches as Russia masses troops. They say one step away from war. Now look at what you got going on here. You got China licking their chops with Taiwan. You got Iran licking their chops with Israel and vice versa. You've got Russia licking their chops over the Ukraine, and you got the United States being driven by a senile old man. This bus is going to go off the road at some point. It's going to. Not will it or if it does. No, it's going to. It is going to. What else we got here? China can already look at the world on an equal level. Oh, so that's what they did. So they send out the China virus, right? They send that out, get that out there, and they bring everyone on an even level. I mean, that's what I get out of it. He told the annual legislative sessions in Beijing in early March. This is what Pooh Bear said. A remark widely interpreted in Chinese media as a declaration that China no longer looks up to the United States. I have news for you. People who live here no longer look up to the United States government. That I can tell you. China no longer looks up to us. I mean, they've sold everything out to China. I mean, it's incredible what they've done. They say President Pooh Bear. I'm just going to call him Pooh Bear. Is that all right if I call him Pooh Bear? Because I know he likes that nickname. So President Pooh Bear confronting the Biden administration, whatever that is, with a new worldview that Beijing's decades of not challenging the U.S. as global leader are over. Pooh Bear has finally finished his honey. He's a man bear now, and he's going to stick his chest out. Man bear. The WHO says COVID pandemic is growing exponentially at more than 4.4 million new cases a week. Remember that fear-mongering thing I was telling you? And the documents are here. I mean, I could show you where it says that in the document. So I'm not making that up either, which is what we've said all along. There's a lot of fear-mongering. They don't like that when you call them. I mean, they put it right in plain sight. They really do. 4.4 million new. You know what they're going to do? This is not going away. This is not going away anytime soon. People keep thinking, oh, it's going to go away. It's on its way out here. Baloney. They're going to keep using it, and using it, and using it. So much going on. The police shooting. We got to get to that yet. So it says Maria Van Kerkhove, the agency's technical lead for COVID-19, said we're in a critical point of the pandemic. I know, it looks so crazy out, so drastically, just be careful. It's so deadly out there. This is not the situation we want to be in 16 months into a pandemic where we have proven control measures, she said. Okay, control measures, exactly. Control measures. Everyone get in your house, shut your doors and windows, and don't come out. Don't worry, we'll send you a check, and you can order stuff from Amazon. Pentagon scientists reveal a microchip that senses COVID-19. Oh, my good Lord, folks. You just can't make this stuff up. And documents also talk about microchips. Again, you can't make this stuff up. It's right there. It's in the playbook. It's in the playbook. It's all a matter of who's calling the plays. So, so it senses COVID-19 in your body before you show symptoms and a filter that extracts the virus from your blood. Oh, isn't that wonderful? So basically you'll have, I don't know what, nanobot technology. Well, I mean, the microchip can't do it all by itself, or does it? Maybe it does. Scientists at the Pentagon's secretive unit, the Batcave, get it? Never mind, I'll leave it there, are researching viruses and developing pandemic cures. They're getting pandemic cures. Right, you go. They work at Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, known as DARPA, and other Pentagon laboratories. It says DARPA's team saw COVID-19 infected 1,271 on board USS Theodore Roosevelt as the virus spread unchecked. Yeah, it was unchecked. And, now it's just gotten so bad. I mean, everyone should be so concerned. It's just such, you look at the old plagues from, you read about them and stuff, and you see, all these people just dropping dead everywhere and stuff. And then you look at this, this is so pansy what's going on, right? It really is. It's so pansy, in my opinion. It's ridiculous. What I mean is it's just being, it's being used as a weapon. It's just ridiculous now. Still not happy with that post office lady either. So here's how it works. This chip is inserted below skin and triggers a sensor if COVID infects the body. But they have false positive tests. We don't even know. God knows what, you have COVID, you don't have COVID, this is COVID, that's COVID. Wouldn't you like to be a COVID too? I'd like to buy the world of COVID. It's just COVID, COVID, COVID everywhere you look. But believe me, I feel like going off about this sometimes. So DARPA has also created a filter which can remove COVID virus from the blood when attached to dialysis. Isn't that wonderful? Well, and why can't they use this for HIV? Why can't it remove the AIDS virus from the blood? Why can't we remove cancer from blood when there's blood? People got blood cancer. That's a real thing. I think we could do a lot of things. I think that they're getting people sick. They're giving people disease. This is, it's fact. And a lot of these pharmaceuticals come from China, and they got stuff in them that's killing people. Lung cancer, heart disease, all this stuff, and it never ends. So they're working on a vaccine that would work against all coronaviruses, even ones not yet identified. So, when they're in the Batcave and they whip up new ones, you could take comfort in knowing that this coronavirus vaccine for all is going to keep you safe. It's like having your own Secret Service. Order now. The team also successfully manufactured antibodies against Spanish flu. Good for them. I'm telling you, good. God bless you all, folks. Do what you will. Me? Nope. Not doing it. How'd Bush say? He says, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it either. Minneapolis black man, 20, was shot dead by cop after being pulled over for air freshener hanging from the mirror. All right, I got a lot of problems with this. I don't know where to start, so I'm just going to start. All right? I have a problem with somebody getting pulled over because they have an air freshener hanging from their mirror, first off. I got a big problem with that. It's like you don't have better things to do, officer friendly, than pull someone over because they have a bleep air freshener hanging from their mirror. Really? Okay, because if you didn't pull them over for that, all this could have been avoided. Number 2, the guy had a warrant. They get him out of the car. Everything's peaceful to that point. The cop goes to put handcuffs on him. The guy tried to jump back in his car and leave. No, that don't justify shooting him, I guess. No, of course. But, So then this woman cop, I think it was a woman cop, goes for her taser apparently, and instead of grabbing her taser, grabs her gun. And she shoots one shot into him, and apparently that was fatal, from what I understand here. So, first off, I got I'm telling you, there's a lot of things wrong here. Number 1, don't pull people over because they got a freaking air freshener hanging from their mirror. That's why people don't like you, because you do stupid things like that. All right, number 1. I could obstruct your view. And so can your hat. Who cares? Really. I mean, it's really not doing harm. People have had things hanging from their mirrors since the beginning of cars. So I have a problem with that. I have a problem with this guy trying to take off. If people would follow the orders of the police, we would have less of this. If people would follow orders, when the cop says, don't do it, don't do it. Just wait, fight later. And I have a problem with the training of this officer. I mean, how stupid can you be that you grabbed your I get it. There's a lot of commotion. She's obviously trained very badly. She was nervous. She didn't handle the situation well. She, instead of grabbing her taser, grabbed her gun, which to me, they both look the same, that's another red flag there. Why wouldn't you have the taser like a whole nother color or something so that, everyone, it'd be obvious, even to a nervous person. Someone that gets that nervous shouldn't even be a cop. I mean, no way. So she pulls out the gun instead of taser. I'm going to tase you, pop. Oops. She says the SHI, you know what word. She says that and says, I shot him. Now, she was surprised. The cops around her. I could tell. I don't believe for a minute that she did it on purpose. It had nothing to do with color for me, anyways. But I do believe there's a lot of negligence on the police department. They shouldn't have pulled him over for a freaking air freshener, number 1. I mean, come on. You don't have better things to do? That really bothers me. There's a man dead today because you didn't like him having an air freshener on his mirror. And you could say, well, in that case, he's also dead because he didn't follow directions from the police. Yes. So, but he shouldn't have been pulled over in the first place, personally, in my opinion. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I don't see this as some hate crime. I don't. But I bet it's going to be probably treated like one. So they've got National Guard posted in Minneapolis. I think quite a few of them too, because rioting did start. So they got police and riot gear, all that stuff going on now. Yep. So bad things, man. When the cop pulls you over, you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know if he's crooked. You don't know if he's nervous. You don't know what he's going to do. Best thing to do is just follow his directions. That's the best thing to do. So Anyways, Dante Wright, he was 20. He was shot by a Brooklyn Center police officer on Sunday during a routine traffic check. Routine? An air freshener? That's not routine. That's picking on somebody, in my opinion. I'm not trying to take side. I'm just saying it is. I'd be mad if you pulled me over. I got pulled over once. I had my license plate. You got lights in there? Well, there was 3 lights. One of them was out. The other 2 were bright as hell, and you could see the plate anyways. He pulled me over because one of my tiny little bulbs was out. It's like, yeah, no, you pulled me over because you wanted to check things out, and you wanted a probable cause to do it. I mean, we're not stupid. We know what you're doing. Police have not specified whether or not Wright was armed at the time of his death. Well, it doesn't matter. She said she was going to tase him, and she shot him. I'm sorry, that was negligence. No, I don't think she should go down for murder. But she should certainly, there's a lot of negligence there, a lot of problems with this. Officers pulled over Wright for a traffic violation and determined that he had an outstanding warrant. Right there. You got a warrant. They tell you you're under arrest. Put your hands behind your back and shut the hell up. Just do it. Fight later. Not when you're on the street like that. They don't know. You jump back in that car. Who the hell knows? So I'm surprised they didn't mean to shoot him, to be honest with you. So one officer discharged her firearm, striking Wright while the vehicle continued to travel for several blocks before crashing into another car. Wright died while still inside the vehicle. Wright's mother, Katie, claimed her son had called her while being pulled over to get insurance information because the vehicle had just been given to him. So, anyways, around 500 protesters took to the streets and clashed with police, and a lot of crap going on. The incident occurred 10 miles from where the police officer is on trial and charged with murdering George Floyd last year, which is a lot of issues with that too. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, she says, "Holy shit!" I'm just gonna say it. That's what she said. I just shot him. And the chief believes the officer meant to use the taser. Now, he released a video immediately for everyone to see. And I think that was the right thing to do. And, of course, he says that other officials, the higher officials in the state are angry because he did that. Of course, because they want the narrative to be, they want everyone to wonder so that more stuff could burn down, more problems could occur. That's why. You did the right thing, Officer Chief, by releasing the video. Now it's a matter of public opinion. I personally think that both were wrong. I think the police were wrong, and I think he was wrong. I think they were both wrong. But he lost his life, so there's going to be a big payout there to the family. And I don't know what's going to happen to her. I don't believe she, but hey, if I didn't mean to kill somebody and I killed them, I'd at least probably do a year for involuntary manslaughter. So, hey, it is what it is, lady. I mean, God bless all involved. That's all I can say. All right, let me get, I think, one more here. Safe, personalized cancer vaccine shows promise in early trials. You ready? You lining up for yours? A personalized vaccine for cancer may sound more like fiction than reality to some. Why would it, when I know that baking soda and blackstrap molasses will cure cancer? I'm just saying. Researchers from Mount Sinai Hospital reported that they've developed just that with the help of a computer platform. They say that made it even better, these personalized vaccines, that is, treating forms of the disease, including lung and bladder cancer. Now, look, if it works, great. Anything that works is beautiful. If it cures, not if it keeps it at bay. It's a cure. We want cures. The hell with this. Well, we can manage it. This way we keep you as a customer for many decades. Every now and then we'll do a new surgery somewhere, So, it appears safe, they say, for use and beneficial for patients at high risk of reoccurrence. These findings come from the initial results of a phase 1 clinical trial involving the vaccine. See, the word vaccine just totally turns me off now. Just because I know what these psychos do with these things. I mean, look. I told you in the past they've given black men syphilis. And then it's later, oh, we're sorry. Yeah, we did. We kind of did. We're sorry. They admitted it. I mean, not making this up. This isn't fake news. It's real. And then you could get into AIDS and why that was, even existed. But I won't do that right now. I think you know. So cancer vaccines, which typically combine tumor-specific targets that the immune system can learn to recognize and attack to prevent reoccurrence of cancer. The vaccine also contains an adjunctant that primes the immune system to maximize the efficiency. Now, they say here, using tumor DNA to make better cancer drugs. That's what they're doing here. Researchers sequenced each individual patient's tumor and DNA and tumor RNA to create a personalized vaccine for them. Now, the purpose of a phase 1 trial is only to establish, they say, the safety of a new treatment. So in that sense, phase 1 was largely a success, they said. Additionally, one patient showed a tangible immune response to the vaccine. 2 others displayed a robust reaction to subsequent immune therapy treatments. One of these guys walked out of the program, didn't complete it, and I believe there was like 4 that were absolutely cancer-free, they said. So, it's, I guess when you're faced with it, there's a lot of things. I mean, that's why people do chemotherapy and stuff. This is a big reason, because they get scared into it. Fear-mongering is huge, especially medical, viruses, all that stuff. That's how they get you to run and do the things they want you to do. That's how they do it. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break, and then when I come back, I'll have my guest with me here. I expect to anyways. And so I need to mute you during for the video part. The video part will be muted during the music because I don't know which of these video outlets are going to have a problem with it and which are not. And I really don't want to deal with that. So bear with us here. So if you get dead air, that's what it is. You'll get it. We'll have you back here in just a minute.
Columbia. Excellent.
GoStop.com. Because they have the newest equipment straight from the inventors. EMF devices, laser grids, ghost boxes, full spectrum camcorders, and DVR system.
I can't believe the DVR went down.
Yeah, we may have missed the holy grail of paranormal evidence. Full body apparition.
We got another investigation next week. We better go to GoStop.com and order a new DVR system now. Quick, JC, give me your credit card.
GoStop.com for all your ghost hunting equipment. Boo.
So if you're in need of the best ghost investigation equipment, go to LateNightInTheMidlands.com. That's LateNightInTheMidlands.com.
Late nighters around the world, listen up. The shop is here and you can order LNM radio swag right now and show your friends and your neighbors you're awake by wearing one of our many shirts. including our Stop the Censorship shirt. That one is a hot seller, so get yours while supplies last. We have coffee mugs, clocks, so never miss your favorite show, books, mouse pads. Just go to latenightinthemidlands.com and click the shop link. That's latenightinthemidlands.com and get to shopping.
Late Night in the Midlands with host Michael Vara, shining light on the darkness and exposing the lies. Late Night in the Midlands. We cover everything.
Do you enjoy Late Night in the Midlands? Can you imagine LNM radio gone? Yeah, me neither. That's why it's important to contribute. There are so many ways to do so. Click the donate button on the homepage, or shop from those who support us by purchasing through our banners on the website. You can also shop in our store. Every time you do, you help Late Night in the Midlands survive. Last but not least, subscribe. Subscriptions are one of the best ways to help fund operations, and we thank you all for all you do to keep Late Night in the Midlands on top. Go to latenightinthemidlands.com and get started today. That's latenightinthemidlands.com.
FliesNoMore.com.
Insect glue boards with decorative boxes.
FliesNoMore.com.
Catches flies, mosquitoes, gnats.
FliesNoMore.com.
Place them on top of a refrigerator, wall units, cabinets, tables. Comes with 5 dual-side glue boards and 1 decorative box. Wholesale and retail prices available. Visit us at fliesnomore.com or email us at info@fliesnomore.com. We catch them for you.
Welcome to the night. From the Midlands of South Carolina, you're listening to Late Night in the Midlands with Michael Vara. To call into tonight's show, just dial 803-317-2521. The call to listen line is 631-359-9399. To get questions directly to Michael Vara, you can join our Skype chat located on the chat and listen page, or email Michael at wcetfm@gmail.com. Now, here is Michael Vara.
About the video thing, because they don't like the music. They get their a little bent out of shape there with music. They don't like it. They say, oh, you can't do this and you can't. Anyways, so let me tell you a little bit about my guest. Douglas James Cottrell is best known as a trance clairvoyant. He is a spiritual healer, teacher, and published author who demonstrates many abilities studied by Gnostic sciences, that is the study of consciousness, including clairvoyance, telepathy, energy healing, remote viewing, prediction, and prophecy. He is one of a select few able to demonstrate all of these abilities, and even fewer who are considered a reliable information source. He teaches people the world over about spiritual development through the practice of meditation and the application of spiritual principles in daily life. His website, DouglasJamesCottrell.com. He's got several books, Secret of Life, the Complete New Age Health Guide, the New Earth, a prophetic view of our future, Gems of Wisdom, and Conversations with the Acoustic Field are some of them. So anyways, let's go ahead and get this thing going. Douglas, welcome to Late Night in the Midlands. How are you?
It's a pleasure to be on with you, Michael. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. How are you tonight, sir?
I am doing just fine, and I want to thank you so much for taking time out to be with me tonight. I do appreciate it, and I look forward to getting into the topic at hand. So, well, I guess a good place to start, I guess, how did you get into all this? What started all this clairvoyance and such for you, remote viewing and all those great things? I mean, what got you going down that road?
Okay, well, the short story is that I'm a newspaper pressman. I work for the Toronto Star. I'm a Canadian. And in 1968, my eldest child, Sherry Ann, was born with severe difficulties. And consequently, she was, by recommendation of all the medical authorities at the time, at the age of 2.5 years, we put her into an institution. The wisdom at the time was to my wife Karen and I to let the child go into an institution. There wasn't much hope for her recovery, and get on with our lives. At the time, we were young, in our early 20s, so we did. Biggest mistake of my life, biggest decision my wife Karen and I had to make. So fast forward 4 years, I'm in the press room, and Mr. Bill O'Shea comes over and hands me this book about Edgar Cayce called There Is a River, written by Thomas Surgood. And I read it with fascination, cover to cover. And I thought, here is a clairvoyant, a man who practiced this phenomena called deep trance meditation, who was renowned in the 30s and 40s for being able to accurately diagnose intuitively somebody's health condition and to give them remedies on how to better or heal the conditions. So this was fantastic, that somebody could finally tell me and my wife if there was some hope for Sherry. Was she, possibly able to recover? What was wrong? What happened at her birth? And things like that.
Yeah.
The unfortunate part of that, the door slammed shut, that Edgar Cayce had passed away. Not too long after reading that book, through a coincidence, I happened to turn on the television, and Mr. Ross Peterson and his wife Irva were doing the exact same type of session, a clairvoyant deep trance session with Dr. Logan Stanfield looking on, and Alan Spraggett being the host and conductor of this experiment. And I knew right away that I had to see this man, that he could probably answer that question, what could be done, if anything could be done. I did eventually meet him. He did a 1-hour consultation for us, and on the strength of that session, and that session alone, we retrieved our daughter from the institution. She was 4.5 years at that time. She weighed 22 pounds when she went into the institution, and she weighed 22 pounds when we brought her home. She was on heavy doses of medicine to control her convulsions. We immediately applied the information, the remedies. We had to see a chiropractor, another physiotherapist to right the bones that were out of place in her neck, which were causing the convulsions. She responded very well, and she remained home with us until she was 38, and then she passed away. She had severe scoliosis from being left in the bed for those 4 years, and she had the susceptibility to pneumonia because of a deformity of her chest. Well, we were amazed at the time that Mr. Peterson was able to accurately tell us everything. I was still being my newspaper cynical self, and I didn't tell him a thing, and I tested him during the session, and he passed with flying colors. The idea that somebody could lay down and go into a state of meditation, sort of talk in their sleep, if you will, and then talk about somebody who's 200 miles away that they've never met or known, and come up with factual information, not only what happened, but what could be done, and then to prove it out by having followed the recommendations. It saved Sherry's life. Her normal children in that situation, her normal lifespan were between 8 and 9 years of life. She lived until she was 38. And she had a happy life. She had 2 brothers and a sister that came along after her, all in good condition. And we had a relatively good family. And as I said, my dear wife took care of Sherry for all of her life. And it was just like this amazing miracle, this amazing thing that I thought finally, being a cynical, skeptical guy, there really was a God out there. There really was this ability to tap into the Akashic field or the Akashic records and gain information. Certainly the proof in the pudding was Ross Peterson's ability to, as if he was reading a medical chart, go through my daughter's body and name all the circumstances that were in need of being corrected, plus the fact that he correctly told me when I tested him about her medications, he told me she was on a combination of medications, phenobarbital and Vibol, which we didn't tell him ahead of time. So that got me curious. That got me thinking, my God, I've been in some institutions and different hospitals and seeing children like my daughter who are just basically left to waste away, and I thought I could do something about it. So a few years after that, I resigned my position at the newspaper, and I was lucky in the commodities market. I was using my intuition, and was able to resign my position at the Toronto Star and go into this field of, let's say, this uncertain field, this field where people still question or are skeptical, and rightly so. And I was able to distinguish myself as being a reliable source of information. And here we are, from 1975, 76, here we are all these years later. I'm 71 now, and I'm able to intuitively answer questions when people ask me in a conscious state, as well as being in a deep state of meditation, which I now call quantum meditation. And I've taught many people how to do this as well. So in listening to your show earlier, a lot of the questions you were asking to get information by yourself, reaching out in a meditative state, it's a tool that several of my students across the country, from California to Vermont to Florida to Washington State, have learned to use. They're doing very well, and in time they'll probably be as good or surpass myself. But I do the same phenomena as Edgar Casey, Ross Peterson, my mentor, and Paul Solomon, for the audience that maybe are familiar with those men.
Well, yeah, and I would say if you could, everyone always says all you really need to do is prove just one, right? And Edgar Casey, he's a good example. So you got there's a lot more people who are able to do these things, and boy, I would trust that more than doctors these days. I'll tell you, yeah.
Good point. Good point. I have. There's Ramstein Regelen, I'll give him a plug here on YouTube. He's been documenting much of the information that I've given over years. And in a show I heard you mention about the situation in Wuhan, China, I was able to, when asked about it way in the beginning, where it came from, I identified the lab, I identified that they were working with small animals. Turns out they were using bats. And then I was able to say it wasn't a man-made weapon. It was an escape from the lab. They were trying to do a culture. And then, of course, the Chinese locals covered it up, the Chinese officials, I should say. And that came out in subsequent investigations. A lot of the details I gave came out. Now, we put that out because Tom, who runs the website, is a very curious man. He has his ability to ask questions of sometimes of the most obscure situations, and other times we have identified things that happen at shootings, where the shooter was, what happened, who was there, and things like that. So, and finding, people's what happened at a murder scene, finding the body, or at least the general area. That's the more macabre part. I don't really like to do that. I'd much rather look to people's health, or get involved with their personal circumstances, which I've done for the years. But there's this ability to reach out and to, prophetically see events happening. And again, on that YouTube channel, there's many of the mysteries, the uncertainties that have been put out there. Tom is asked, and then later on they're proven. So this thing about where the pandemic came, and forecasting it as a pandemic, that it was going to go between Africa and Japan at that current time, all that was pretty accurate. Of course, when we put it out there, people thought it was crazy. But again, your comments well said. Like if you have this ability to constantly see things, and it becomes reliable, it's not perfect by any means, but it's a reliable source. You can get feelings and hunches that add to listening with your eyes, so to speak, and trying to share it between the news and the not so news, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And find out the truth.
So let me ask you this, because this is always my biggest curiosity with these things: is how are you able to originally trust yourself? First of all, like, my problem would be trusting myself. If I got something was coming to me, I think, Mike, you're thinking it up. Your mind's doing this. It's not, how do you get past that?
That's step number one. When
Yeah.
I teach people how to do this, it's a very good question, Michael. I have a large room. I go to Texas in Fort Worth. I have started this as sort of where my center is, or where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. In this big room over at Chalio's restaurant in Fort Worth, give them a plug. I take a piece of tape, and I put the tape across the threshold coming into the room. And I tell everybody, see that line? Doubt stops here. Okay, that's the thing. It's a mantra. Doubt stops here. People who are intelligent have difficulty in sort of assessing, is it intuition, or is it imagination, or is it intellect? And I teach people how to set the intellect aside. I don't really set it aside. We trick it into listening to the intuition. The enemy of the intuition is the intellect. And the short answer is, as you keep looking forward and you begin to use your intuitive mind, it becomes clear, and you can trust it. You won't ever completely trust it, because it's a very frail, fragile kind of in your mind. You want to believe, but your intellect is constantly trying to reason things out, deduct or deduce things. And that's when I say to people, here's the secret on your intuition, and answers the question directly. You don't think, you observe. So you see in your mind's eye something. That's what the answer is. Your intellect will try to gobbledygook it up, or maybe put doubt in your mind, and that will fade away. Kind of like a dream. When you wake up in the morning, you have an image, and then it fades away. So getting past that reasoning, thinking, deducing, guessing, I say when I teach, I say we have to get past that. And therefore, if you're thinking, if you take longer than a split second to see from your middle mind, which is a term I've come up with because, as you know, many people have many terms and many philosophies and many opinions. So mine is the middle mind is the one that produces the image that you rely upon. And it'll only come up for a moment. And as you practice this, that moment will turn into a few moments, then it'll turn into a vision or a complete scene, and then it will turn into a moving scene or like a video, a short video.
See,
here's what I'm going.
I just wanted to say really quick. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, this is the coup de grace here. So, Michael, you're a smart guy.
I hope.
You're a thinking man, and you're constantly looking into the uncertainty of the future, what happened here or there. So, how do we get you to train yourself to look at that middle mind? How do we find out if you have that ability? Because there are a few people who do not have the ability to see in their mind's eye. They can't do remote viewing, mind projection, meditation, or prophecy. They can't see. They don't see visions. Very few people, but there are some. So in order to convince the intelligent part of you, the intellect, is to give you demonstrations to yourself, and this is how I teach. When I'm going to ask you something in a moment, and this kind of shows if you have this ability. Okay, so I don't want you to think of anything, and I want you, when I say the term polar bear, what do you see in your mind's eye?
I see a white bear in a snowy land, standing on his back feet. That's what I see.
And what's going on in front of him? Anything?
It's just all open space.
And what's behind him?
I think I am. Honestly, that's what it feels like. You
said you think, and that's the no-no part. Don't think. Just tell me what you see. And so, without me, as I said, I don't want you to think of anything, and I never prepped you, never suggested anything. I said the word polar bear, and then I said, what do you see? Immediately, an image was generated in your middle mind. That picture in your mind, you were able to describe it. You were able to describe the foreground, the background. You saw a wide view. You saw the polar bear, and you saw him standing on his hind feet, I think you said.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
And that's what I mean. Like, if I was trying to do this and I heard a bird chirping outside, like you said polar bear, and I seen polar bear, if I heard a bird chirp, would I see a bird chirp? How do I get control of something like that? Well,
we're just starting off to say, first of all, if you can see things in your mind's eye, which you obviously did very, very well, then you have the ability to do remote viewing, mind projection, clairvoyance, because that middle mind is activated. The language of the soul is pictures or images, not words.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing, this is one thing that Edgar Casey required, as did Ross Peterson, I think Paul did as well, and myself. When we would be laying in a meditative state, we're half awake and half asleep, but it's like talking in your sleep, okay? Mm-hmm. Your conscious self is kind of set aside, and you go to this other part of your mind that is able to see things, observe things, okay? That's the ultimate, that your conscious mind is asleep or set aside, and you're able to see things. And then the subconscious needs direction. So in the East, it's called the Shamanti mind, to throw out a term. It means that this is the mind that's aware, and it doesn't do anything. It just sits there being aware. If you ask it a question, it'll answer. If you don't ask it a question, it's okay. It just sits there. So getting into that state of neutrality, if I can use that, or calmness. Edgar Casey was in that state of meditation. He would be given the person's name and their address where they were at that time. So, intellectually understanding this, his mind would travel through time and space to wherever the person was, and he would be able to intuitively see what they were doing, what their surroundings were. He would be able to look into their body and see whatever the problem was in their arm, a broken body, a broken arm, maybe an enlarged heart. He would be able to see the disease, if I can call it that. And then somehow he was privy to information that would remedy the problem, okay? Whatever that might be, like drink more celery juice to help your thyroid calm down. I'm making that up.
Yeah.
So this ability to observe through time and space is called clairvoyance if you're looking in the future. It's called mind projection if you're looking in the present moment. And it's called remote viewing when you're able to go to a location and see what's going on in that location in a place you've never been before. So all those things happen in a split second when somebody when somebody asks a question or somebody gives you a statement like I did, polar bear. And every time I say polar bear, it keeps coming to your mind.
It does.
Yes. This is how the mind works. And again, I've been studying the mind and intuition since 1975. And I've gained a lot of information. I've conducted a lot of experiments, and I've met many, many people who've had similar yet dissimilar instances or experiences with their intuition. So I have a wide array of understanding how it works. But and I'm trying to give it in a short time here, give tonight the beginning steps that you don't think. If you start to reason, if you start to, try to deduct an answer, you're guessing. I don't want you to tell me that's what I tell my students. I don't want you to tell me what you think. Tell me what you see. And that's the hard part, Michael.
Yeah.
But as you continue to see, you say to yourself, how did I know that? And then you say to yourself, imagine that. I saw that car was going to, hit that lamppost there, and it did. Then you start to understand the difference between premonition, precognition, prediction, and prophecy. Okay?
Okay. And so tell me what this is then. I had back in, what year was it? It was 2000, I want to say 2007, 2000, something like that. Anyways, I was on a medication, they called it. They were supposed to help me quit smoking at the time. I did quit smoking, but no thanks to them. So I was on this stuff, and they said one of the side effects was it was like, night terrors and things like that. But I got to tell you what happened really quick. I'll give you the short version. I went to sleep one day. I think it was late in the day, and while sleeping, it's like I went somewhere. Something opened up. I ended up going to a house in a town that I had never been inside before. I've been outside, never been inside the house. And I ended up going in this house. And while I was in this house, the people who are now old and all grown up and all that stuff were actually very young in there at the time. And I went through this house. Through the whole place. When I got upstairs, I had an encounter with some demon lady. I don't know what to call her. But anyways, long story short, when I woke up, I was sweating, pouring sweat, cold sweat. I was like, and I wrote everything down immediately because I was afraid I'd forget it, and I never did forget it. And the girl whose grandparents live in that house, who've owned that house for a long, long time, I brought this information to her. Do you know I described the layout inside that house exact? I described the trim up in the bedrooms, on the wall, up in the ceiling. I described the curtains, the colors on the walls, everything, even the people, you name it. And so what happened there? what exactly was that?
Well, for whatever reason, you fell asleep because you were taking medication, or because there was something going on with the nicotine in your body. There was something that caused the body to go into a let's call it a disconnect, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And what really happened was your soul left the body, zoomed to this house for some reason, and you went into the house. You actually physically, if I can say it, physically in a spiritual form, went into this house.
Yes.
You went through the house, and that's why you could describe it accurately, because you were looking at it. You weren't thinking. You weren't making any deductive conclusions. You were actually there. You went through the house, and then you went upstairs, and I sort of picked this up before you said it. You met a ghost. I call them ghost people.
Yeah.
This was a person who used to own the house before the family was there. Okay, before the family downstairs actually bought the place. So you saw somebody that was haunting the house. Now, we can sit and argue, debate, argumentatively say, why did you go to that house? But the point is, you physically, if I can say that, in a spiritual form, went there, went all the way through the house. You said you had seen the house outside, but you never went inside. Why did you see the house outside? What was that all about?
The girl who's the woman whose grandparents owned the house. I brought my kids over there one time to go swimming in the pool, but we never went inside the house. She said, "Oh, my grandparents got a pool," so we went there. And but yeah, I'd never seen the inside. And what's weird is I was able to interact with these people in the house from another time, like when they were. Like even her, she was in that house at the time. She was like, I mean, she's an adult woman. She was 15 years old at the time. When I went in the house, she was like, it went back in time. It was really weird. She even showed me the gun. She had a gun holding the window open in the bedroom when I was in there. And I told her about the gun. She opens up a closet door and says, "Is this the gun you're talking about?" I'm like, "Oh my God, that's it. It's a rifle."
There you go.
Yeah.
So the reason I asked, why was that house special to you? And there was some connection. It had a swimming pool. It was, it was a good time. Maybe you were in the swimming pool, and maybe somewhere in your mind, consciously or subconsciously, you always wondered what was going on in the house. Here, it doesn't really matter. The fact is that the house was a point that your consciousness went to for whatever reason. We don't know why. But it was a place that you had been before. And so you satisfied that curiosity, perhaps, by going in the house and looking all around, as I said, and even confronting a ghost person who was haunting the place up in the attic. And a lot of houses, people who used to live there, sometimes they still do. They just don't know that they passed away. So they kind of reside upstairs.
This old lady was not nice. She had dark eyes. I could see through her almost. I mean, I could see the wall behind her. And she growled at me almost. I mean, she says, "Get away from her." Just like that. I mean, then she came at me like Superman. And that's when I woke up.
Well, that again, getting into ghost people, she didn't know she's dead. She still thinks it's her house, and you were, if you will, invading her space. Okay,
I see.
And I've had people who had that experience where, after two realtors went to look at a house in a city, it was an upscale house. They went to the door, and they went to go in, and they could feel them push their chest. Both of them pushed them out the door. And they were sensitive people, and they felt a real physical push. They ran away, and then they came and asked me what happened. And I said, well, the person who's just passed away doesn't know that they're dead yet, and now you're walking into their house, you're invading their house, and they were pushing you out the door. And they were okay, like, sure, Douglas, that makes sense. But I said, don't worry, you go back after the funeral and she'll be gone. And sure enough, they did. They opened the door with some trepidation, and they tiptoed into the place, and they didn't feel that push out. So similarly, when you saw this lady who growled at you, this is a woman who's been haunting this place, still thinking it's her place, and understanding she's hiding out from the people downstairs. So you met her in a spiritual form, and that's why she growled at you. You could hear her. And that wasn't really with your ears. That was what you heard her with your mind. I'm digressing a little bit, but also it's important that you went back in time, which is then clairvoyance. You're able to transcend time. So you saw the people when they were younger. A lot of things happened in that, but that was the experience was initiated because your body was in a sleep sort of situation. Like it was disconnected from the soul. When you came back, you were terrified. As seeing a ghost or a demon, as you said earlier, having this experience, startling as it was, you came back and your body was reacting because it was going through all the sense. When you have a dream and you wake up and you're all sweaty, it was the same thing.
I even felt where she hit me.
Doing the body.
Yeah, I could even feel where she hit me. When she hit me when I first woke up, I could feel the pain, like where she nailed, ran me.
because there is substance, and she was punching you in your astral body, if I can put it that way. I said soul earlier.
Yeah.
And so you could feel it because it really happened. It's not a figment of your imagination. This is a real sense or feeling while you're in that, astral projection that the soul was out of the body. It really happened to you. That's why you could feel the pain and why you were frightened in the emotional response. Now, if you can do that once, you can do it again.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Now, you've had somewhat of a scary experience because you didn't have anybody like me explain in a calm way the mechanics of your body was somewhat asleep. You took a nap. You went somewhere for whatever reason. The place was special to you. You went inside. You had a look around. You saw the people back in a different time. And then you were able to describe in detail the inside of that building. People, and I think if I remember reading something about you, you've had out-of-body experiences before in the form of OBEs.
I
right?
have, yes. Mm-hmm.
So that first one you had might have been the shock, if I can call it that allowed you this ability to separate your spiritual body from your physical body, and you should be able to, at will, do astral projection, remote viewing, mind projection, because you now have had experiences like, as all shamanic people who become shamans, they have to have that near-death experience because it separates, or let me say it awakens the ability to separate the soul from the body. And that's why you had such a vivid experience, not because you were just imagining it, because you were observing it, and because you were there in a form that I'm using terms like soul or astral body, but that was a spiritual form. Your mind, if you will, was actually there. And you had this encounter with this grumpy old lady who didn't want you in her house.
Yeah, exactly. And I not only her, I also had encounters like downstairs when I was walking from the kitchen into the middle room. There's like a bedroom off to the right side, and there was a couple, teenagers in there, boys. I don't know what they were doing, strobe lights, all that stuff. You know how teenagers are. And he was waving me on. He just waving his hand. Come here, come on in. I went in, we started talking. It was like we knew each other. It was really weird. And then I had to go to the bathroom, and that's what took me upstairs. And when I got up to there was 2 flights of steps. When I got up to the top, that hallway looked long and dark, and I had this weird feeling about walking down that hallway. Yeah, but I got down there, and when I went to go to the bathroom, was at the end of the hall. And when I went to go in the bathroom, I looked to the right, and in the bedroom there, that's where the girl was laying in the bed, and she was like blue. It was like, it was freezing. It's weird. It was summertime when I went in the house. When I got upstairs, the window was open. She was blue. Like, she looked like she was freezing. It was like winter storm outside almost when I went to go shut the window. It was all together just strange.
Well, you were time warping. That person probably died in that room upstairs, either froze to death or suffocated. I think, stopped breathing. That's why she was blue. So you were the young boys in the room downstairs. That was different people living in that house or being in that house at different times. So you were moving around the house in different locations, but also moving through time.
That is amazing. You have, for years, this has boggled my mind. You have given me like the most excellent explanation for all this. Thank you. I make a little more, because I know it really happened. I have no doubt that it really happened, because how else would I be able to describe everything, So that's how I know it happened.
Well, I have a motto, and it goes something like, faith is built upon belief, and belief is built upon evidence. Yeah. You have evidence that this thing's happened to you because you went back and you talked to somebody. I'm particularly intrigued about, you said that there was a gun or a shotgun that held the window open, and the woman, showed it to you.
Yes.
And so that's evidence, and this is what convinces people that the intuition, the intuitive abilities are real. And that's when Ross Peterson did that session for my daughter, he was saying things that only I knew. There's no possible way he could have known them because we kept it secret from him. We were very careful what we said and did, so we didn't give anything away. And he was as accurately describing my daughter's health as you were when you were describing that gun that was holding the window up. Who in their right mind would imagine holding a window open with a gun? Nobody.
Yeah.
But you saw it, and then the woman showed it to you, which confirmed what you saw. And that's one thing that I'm jumping a little ahead, and that's one thing I tell my students to do, is to say, when you're going in an exercise, and I get them to take their mind someplace, I say, go and have a look and tell me what you see. And people would come back, and I would have sent them to their home doorway, and they would see little pieces of gum wrapper or some leaves in a certain place or a penny. And only when they went home and they went back to their door and they looked down and they saw the penny or the leaves or whatever they were saying that in the exercise, that's when it confirmed that they actually had remote viewed, if you will, mind projected to their front door and saw that item that they wouldn't have seen before. I mean, the critics out there would say, yes, maybe it was in their subconscious anyway. And I can say, okay, we can accept that it's a possibility. But for the point of the exercise, we say, no, this is a real, went there and looked at something, and it was on their front door. We also do send them to places where they've never been before, and they do the same thing. They're able to describe the scene and what they see. So what happened to you in getting this evidence of this amazing trip through this house, the unusual thing is that you were in different rooms seeing people at different times.
Yes. And, and for listeners who might have a little doubt still, one of these days, I'm going to get the girl whose grandparents own the house and going to interview her one of these days. You're going to hear it right from her.
That's what it's all about. Yeah. Evidence. Because you can say that was a coincidence. You can say that was a lucky guess. But after about 50 or 100 times, you have to say, there must be something to this. And I encourage you to keep this up because of your natural experiences that you've had with the OBEs, and also that you've had this one. You could easily be a remote viewer or a clairvoyant. A clairvoyant means clear seeing through time and space. That's what clairvoyance means. Remote viewing means going to a location and looking around. And mind projection is just watching the scene as you go by. You're like disembodied. It's just you're your mind's, it's like you're in a car looking out the windshield. You see what's in front of you, but you don't see anything around you, to give some people. And the astral traveling is going into an astral plane, which is the plane just above the earth. From where you die, you go through several planes. You go this astral plane. You don't want to go there and hang out, because that's where all the people that are not so nice hang out. They don't know they're dead, or they're trying to get back into the earth, they're earthbound. So you want to kind of blow right through that one and head up to those loving dimensions above.
Yeah.
But that's a short synopsis of the four main abilities.
All right. And Doug, hang on with me for a few minutes. I want to take a break, and then we will come back and talk some more. I'll tell you, I'm amazed. I'll tell you, folks, really, it has been, I've brought it up many times on the show. I try not to bore people with the same story over and over, but I do bring it up, and because it's something that happened and it sits on my mind sometimes. I wonder about it, and Douglas has certainly helped me clear some of this up, to be honest with you. And I'm really interested in trying to do this some more. And maybe when we come back, we could maybe some tips on how to go about it. Because I'm one of those people, if I hear like I said, a bird outside, or someone drives by and their motor's real loud on the car, it's like I need to be in a real quiet space. And maybe a library, but I might look a little weird doing it there. I don't know. Well, we'll talk about it when we come back. Douglas James Cottrell is my guest, and he knows what he's talking about, folks. He just proved that. And so 803-317-2521 is the number to call in if anyone has a question or a comment when we return. So with that, let's take this break, and we'll be back, and we'll do some more of this. We'll be back. Why am I hearing that? Where is that coming from? I hear something. Where? God's green. Where the heck is that coming from? We'll be back. We'll be back. Transforms water from virtually any fresh source into cleaner, safer drinking water. Who don't